statements. Feel free to share your views about. So let's start. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for attending this press conference. My name is Bob Fu. I'm the founder and president of ChinaAid, as an international Christian human rights organization focusing on human rights, rule of law, and religious freedom in China. We have been advocating and pushing for religious freedom for all in China. And over the years, we have also paid attention, especially the CCP's transnational repression effort. I myself, of course, have been a victim of the CCP's repression. Back to 2020, my own house was being surrounded in West Texas, Midland, for 3 months by a group of Chinese thugs chanting the elimination of dog food. So I testified before several congressional committees on that effort. So today, also I'm honored serving as a senior fellow at the Family Research Council, the Center for Religious Freedom, Religious Liberty, Center for Religious Liberty. So today, our organizations all stands in full solidarity with the 19 Kazakh human rights defenders who now face criminal indictment and the threat of long prison sentences up to 10 years. I think their trial will start in a few days. Not for committing crimes, but for telling the truth. These individuals are being prosecuted for exposing the CCP's mass detention, forced disappearances, and crime against humanity against the ethnic Kazakhs and Uyghurs in Xinjiang region. Their only offense was giving voice to victims whose families were silenced by fear, borders, and repression. Let us be absolutely clear. This case is not about Kazakhstan's internal security. This is about China CCP's transnational repression, exporting censorship, intimidation, and punishment beyond its borders. The indictments represent a dangerous precedent, criminalizing documentation of human rights abuses, treating peaceful advocacy as extremism, allowing a foreign authoritarian regime to dictate who may speak the truth. If these prosecutions succeed, no human rights defenders anywhere is safe. So ChinaAid calls on the government of Kazakhstan to immediately halt these prosecutions, drop all charges against the 19 indicted activists, and uphold its obligations under international human rights law, including the right to freedom of expression and peaceful assembly. And we all notice that the Kazakhstan government actually is one of the signatory countries of the ICCPR, and even already ratified. So they have the international obligation to eliminate this kind of prosecution. We also urge democratic governments, the United Nations, and the international human rights mechanisms to act decisively. Silence today will invite further repression tomorrow. History will record who stood with the persecuted and who chose convenience over conscience. ChinaAid will continue to speak for those who whom authoritarian regimes like the CCP seek to silence. We will not be intimidated. We will not look away. Thank you very much. I also want to thank the two victims actually who were rescued from the Xinjiang region to the United States, who are here today with us. And later on, I will ask one of them to share a few thoughts. So it's Tersenik, right? Tersenik and who was accused, and Puzira, who was also there as a victim of the concentration camp. Both of them had been mistreated and tortured in the most extraordinary way. And we are thankful ChinaAid and many of you have played a very important role in rescuing them and also nurturing them in safety today. First of all, I want to invite my good friend, who is also the founder of Elterjot Kazakh Human Rights, and all these indicted are part of his team members as human rights defenders, Mr. Sergdan Balash, to come to give us some factual statement on what's going on and what's going to happen in the next few days or weeks ahead. And then I will ask my good friend, Attorney Piero Toldi, who is the Deputy Director of the Congressional Executive Commission on China, on behalf of our hero and champion, Congressman Chris Smith, who regretfully is not able to come. So Sergdan, please come to share your thoughts.
Hello everyone. Thank all of you for coming. My name is Sergdan, and now I would say I am a terrorist, listed as a terrorist by the Kazakhstan government, and I am the founder of this human rights organization based in Kazakhstan, called Atajot Kazakh Human Rights. And 19 of our team members now facing 10 years prison, include this former eyewitness to Xinjiang concentration camps, and the 7 months pregnant woman, and also 7 children's father, and all of them now in danger. And my focus is now Kazakhstan government, they want to totally terminate and destroy this human rights organization. They want to, that's the Kazakhstan and the Chinese government's plan. And they did it from the 2017. They arrested me while I'm leading this organization 2019. I was arrested by the same Kazakhstani criminal article, by Kazakhstan criminal article 174. I was prosecuted and I was arrested and kidnapped from one of the hotel from Almaty to Kazakhstan capital. And now it's happening again. And now it's 90 members of them. And my focus is the Begzat Maksutkan, the leader of Kazakh human rights. His life in danger. His life in danger. Anybody can search on Google Dulat Agadan. Dulat Agadan is one of our famous supporters. He was died in Kazakhstani prison 2020. Just because he supported us, and he wear the T-shirt named my name while I'm in prison. And he attended all the court trial, court hearing while I'm in prison, and he supported me strongly, and he died in prison. If you just search on Google Dulat Agatas, you will find all information. And now let me continue. I am the founder of Atatürk Kazakh Human Rights Organization. We Kazakhs are very unfortunate people. Our homeland is surrounded by three of the most evil dictatorships in the world: Russia, China, and Iran. Russia, China, Iran, the Axis countries, now our neighbors. Through the Caspian Sea, we are neighboring with Iran also. And these three evil axes have brought immeasurable disaster to us, Kazakhs. Kazakhstan is home to the 500,000 Kazakhs from Xinjiang, China. We call East Turkestan. And almost every Kazakh family has relatives imprisoned in Xinjiang concentration camps. Our organization has collected and recorded over 10,000 video testimony. 10,000 video testimony, witness testimonies related to Xinjiang concentration camps from these 500,000 Kazakhs immigrated from Xinjiang to Kazakhstan. It is through these numerous witness testimonies and irrefutable evidence that our organization has exposed the crimes against humanity committed by Chinese Communist Party in Xinjiang. The historical evidence of Chinese Communist Party's genocide against Kazakhs, Uyghurs, Kyrgyz in Xinjiang was collected by our human rights organization since 2017, traveling through the vast steppes of Kazakhstan, going door to door. Sometimes, while at the beginning 2017, I driving my car, stopping at the mountain because there are no more way. So I riding horses, visiting the nomadic Kazakhs who living in yurt. Do you know the yurts? And I handling my cameras and the laptops and the recording the video testimonies and their relatives, their family members. There were children who arrested by Chinese Communist Party in Xinjiang, especially Ili Kazakh Autonomous Prefecture. And that's why Kazakhstani government and the Xi Jinping government, they want to destroy this organization because this is the only one organization in Kazakhstan and the whole Central Asia is looking to what happened in Xinjiang. And this is a window to the world, understanding the Chinese crime against the ethnic minorities, Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz. And that now they want to destroy the window. Therefore, the CCP hate our organization to the core. The authoritarian regime in Kazakhstan is in cahoots with the evil regime of the Chinese Communist Party to suppress us. This is why these 19 activists were arrested by the Kazakhstani Security Service, which evolved from the former Soviet Union, KGB. Now they are in KGB jail. I haven't been in KGB jail. Any of them in KGB jail? KGB jail is worse than hell. I have been in. And among the 19 of these activists, led by Begzat Maksudkhan, some who had already acquired the Kazakh citizenship were Kazakhs originally from Xinjiang, China, including Tursunbek Kavi, an eyewitness to Xinjiang concentration camps. This gentleman, he is eyewitness to Xinjiang concentration camps, just like Guzira Avelkhan and Tursunay Ziyaudin. And our organization, please stand up. And these two ladies, we rescued them from the Chinese concentration camps because their husbands visit our office, recorded video testimony, and said that their wife was disappeared in China 1 and 6 months and Tursunay Ziyaudin in 9 months. After then, Chinese government, we published all the video testimony because of the international pressure. They have to release it. And after they arrived in Kazakhstan, they bravely exposed the experience inside the concentration camps. Maybe everybody knows the experience. And this gentleman, Tursunbek Kavi, he lost his health inside the concentration camps. After he came to Kazakhstan, he bravely exposed all his experience inside the concentration camps. Now he was arrested again. Now he's in Kazakhstani concentration camps. It is Chinese long arm through the Kazakhstani regime destroying these eyewitnesses. And another victim is Bulgaria Sheriza. She is not our team member. Bulgaria Sheriza. This lady. She is not our team member, but relatable to the victim. Her husband, Alim Turganbay, has been detained in Ili Kazakh Autonomous Prefecture of Xinjiang since July 23, 2025. Turganbay's nephew, Serik Dautbek, was charged in 2018 and after then sentenced for 17 years. Kazakh authorities have sentenced Marat Jilanbay, the world famous marathon runner who broke multiple world records, to 7 years in prison for attempting to register his own political party, Alga Kazakhstan. And the Kazakhstan government also sentenced Askar Senbay, his partner, an activist, and 3 journalists was sentenced to prison terms ranging from 4 to 7 years. They were Mr. Duman Mohamed Karim, Mr. Mirbolat Mirzatai, and Mrs. Aygerim Tileujan. The Kazakh government has refused to register us since 2017 as a non-governmental organization, as a human rights organization. We didn't get any registration. They refused us. They never accept our letters. And they always, moreover, the time they impose administrative penalties and fines on our members under the pretext that you are an unregistered illegal organization, you are gathering or illegal, or you are troublemakers. Begzat Makhkan, the leader of Atatürk Kazakh Human Rights, has been detained, fined, and even beaten countless times. This gentleman. However, the Kazakh authorities bribed the 2 traitors in our organization to register 2 fake pro-government, pro-Beijing NGOs in their name in 2018 and 2019 in order to deceive Western countries. These 2 sham Atatürk organizations denied the existence of Xinjiang concentration camps in May and September 2019 at Radio Azad, the branch of Radio Liberty. In 2019, Kazakh authorities arrested me under Article 174, the Kazakh Criminal Code. These 19 activists were also criminally charged under this infamous Article 174. Our organization's members and thousands of eyewitnesses to Xinjiang concentration camps live in Kazakhstan under the dual pressure of the Chinese and the Kazakh authorities. After I was prosecuted and arrested in 2019 under Article 174 of the Kazakh Criminal Code, I was forced to sign a plea agreement agreeing to not lead the political or human rights groups for 7 years. After my release, I continued my work, so Kazakhstan prosecuted me again in 2020 under the same legal provisions. At that time, I was sued by 4 non-governmental organizations with official backing, including 2 registered fake Atatürk organizations, a Chinese community organization, and a government puppet organization. 2 registered puppet leaders of the Atatürk organizations are currently in the United Kingdom and Germany, impersonating Atatürk, seeking political asylum, and continuing to serve the Kazakh and the Chinese government. The head of another organization is currently in United States. He has traveled through the South American countries such as Mexico to the United States and has also applied for political asylum. In reality, he working for the Kazakh regime. Kazakhstan's secret police arrested people first and then arbitrarily convict them. After arresting 13 members of Almaty, 4 more were arrested in the capital, Astana, 1,300 kilometers away. These individuals had no involvement in the burning of the Chinese flag and portraits of Xi Jinping. However, Kazakh authorities arrested them and detained them for 14 days. The pretext given by the authorities was that they had fake accounts on Facebook and they used these accounts to spread political rumors. As early 2019, the Kazakhstani secret police told the Megzat Bakskan that the government was willing to register a China institute under his name, provided that he relinquish the Atajo. The government would then use their foundation to fund the China Institute, which would receive tens of thousands of dollars in funding each month. Government officials said the government would handle everything, including providing a luxurious office, equipment, a secretary, a driver, and the staff. They even claimed that Begzat Maskan wouldn't need to work. He would publish numerous books under his name and reaping both fame and fortune without going to jail. He could live a blissful upper class life. The only condition is being that Giba Atajo. Begzat Maskan, of course, didn't agree. He didn't want to become a puppet of the Chinese and the Kazakh dictatorships. Puppet. So he is now in prison. And I'm worried about Begzat Maskan's safety. If the international community doesn't stand up for them, he may lose his life in prison, just like 2020 Dula Tagadi. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, President. Yeah. You can ask more questions. He has the first-hand knowledge. And now I want to change the order a little bit since my friend and colleague, Mr. Travis Weber, is going to have another conference call, so I want to invite him to come first. So Travis is the Vice President of Family Research Council, so he comes to also in solidarity. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. It is our pleasure and honor to come here today from Family Research Council and stand with these individuals who are suffering in a far-off land on account of their stance according to their conscience and in alignment with their rights as human beings. And so FRC, as a Christian organization, where I serve as the Vice President for Policy and Government Affairs, it's because of our faith and motivation as a Christian organization that we say that these individuals must be set free, their consciences honored, and their rights protected. Because it is ultimately in the sight of God that we are going to have to give accounts, and all governments of the earth will have to give accounts, so we need to represent that view now on the matter and say they're human beings created in God's image and therefore deserve the same freedom and protections that every other human being who walks the face of the earth, being created in the image of God, deserves in the sight of men, whose civil governments are charged by God to defend human beings' rights because they are created in the image of God. Now, the governments of men may think they are beyond account, beyond the reach of God's justice, but this is a matter of justice. It does not escape God's perspective, God's sight, and God's heart. And he sees what's happening to these human rights defenders in Kazakhstan who we just heard about. He sees what's happening to them. He sees that they are trying to give voice to their conscience and stand and exercise their freedoms in accord with their beliefs. This is a politically directed matter of speech, and as such, it should be protected in alignment with the human rights treaties and instruments and legal standards that have been referenced, giving protection to human beings in account of their free speech and political participation. And so we do call upon the Kazakh government to recognize this. And Family Research Council, on our behalf of our hundreds of thousands of followers around the United States who were motivated by their own Christian faith to be involved in the political participation of our own country and defend religious freedom, because we are all created in the image of God, we extend that view. That view is extended by our humanity to all who walk the face of the earth. And therefore, by extension, it applies to these Kazakh human rights defenders. Regardless of how many people stand up in defense of them, God sees them and he stands in defense of their freedom and human dignity. And so we want to align our voices with that. the CCP and the Chinese government may expect to and attempt to rule through fear and coercion and brute force according to the ways of man, leveraging state power as humans have done for thousands of years over one another, and suppressing each other despite their imago Dei, the human dignity that they have being created in the image of God. But again, this is not to escape God's notice, and the rulers of China and those exercising the authority of their civil office through the Chinese Communist Party will have to ultimately give account to God, the Lord of the universe, for their treatment of not only these Kazakh human rights defenders, but many other individuals who've been suppressed and had their rights violated in China and elsewhere. So we do call upon the Kazakh government to reject this external pressure, and we want to give voice from the United States, letting them know that we see them, the people in the United States see them. They see the people whose rights are being trampled there right now. And we say this politically driven prosecution should not stand, but the people should be set free to live in freedom in accordance with their conscience and their human dignity. The evidence and the science bear out that people suffer traumatic effects and their families suffer traumatic effects when there's state-sponsored transnational cross-border suppression driven by, most notably, what we see the CCP driving around the world. As Bob made reference to, we're seeing it in Kazakhstan, but we see it in the United States. And we believe that as more studies are done and more evidence is collected, we will see further bodies of evidence grow to validate this. But in one study, in the Marriage and Family Journal, I will just quote that the people suffering cross-border actions by governments experience traumatic stress syndromes, albeit to varying degrees. Traumatic symptoms were exacerbated for those who also reported ongoing safety concerns. These were described as originating from the Chinese authorities and were attempts to harass and threaten both their family still residing in the homeland and their personal well-being while living in the United States. Now, this study I just quoted from references individuals harassed by the CCP in the United States, but certainly that should be extended to people around the world, including those who we are focused on today. So we say on behalf of Family Research Council, God bless you. God sees you, though you are still being detained by the Kazakh government under pressure from the CCP. We stand with you at Family Research Council, and on behalf of our supporters around the United States, we have our eye on you, and we will not forget you. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Father. Yeah. Now I want to invite my good friend, Darryl Halsey, the Deputy Director for Congressional Executive Commission on China.
Well, thank you, Bob, for that nice little introduction, and Sir John, thank you for your powerful testimony, and my friend Travis as well. On behalf of Congressman Chris Smith, the co-chair of the Congressional Executive Commission on China, I would like to address you. We stand in strong support of the 19 who have been arrested and detained. And they were detained for, I think, expression that many of us in this room would take for granted. They were speaking out against genocide, the genocide that takes place in the People's Republic of China, directed at Kazakhs, and oftentimes we forget Kazakhs and Kyrgyz, and Uyghurs, and we have two victims of that terrible concentration camp who are here with us today, and all Central Asians who are being targeted there. As we know, Kazakhstan has ratified the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which does guarantee the right of free speech. You know, us in America, we do have our First Amendment, and we so value free speech that even our own flag, we allow that to be burned as an expression of free speech, because that is the important principle. When you are doing this, when you're calling attention to a genocide that is taking place, that is exercising something from the heart there. And the reason, though, let's be also clear, the reason that they've been arrested and targeted is because the long arm of the Chinese Communist Party has extended into Kazakhstan. And that man there, Xi Jinping, is so thin-skinned. Even a picture of Winnie the Pooh, he takes offense at. I mean, how is someone, you know, what a small person that he would be offended by something, by an act of, you know, there. But that is what we're dealing with. To the Kazakh government, you know, really, I actually can understand. I mean, geography has put you in a place where you're between Russia and the People's Republic of China. And again, that long arm of China. And what is interesting is how China now has supplanted Russia and Russian influence in the region, that they have this very imperialistic ambition for Central Asia and beyond as well. Well, let's dialogue. We're the United States. We're here on behalf of the Congressional Executive Commission on China. We represent Congress, but we also have an executive branch representation as well. Let's dialogue here and show good faith by releasing these 19 victims of oppression, communist Chinese oppression. And again, we stand in solidarity with the Kazakhs, and oftentimes we don't say it enough in Congress. We also with the Kyrgyz and our Uyghur friends, who really have been, I see some very good friends often are there, and two women who have been victims of that and very personally feel that. But also with Mongolians, Tibetans. And let's not forget that the greatest victims of the Chinese Communist Party are the Chinese people themselves. We have members of the Falun Gong who are persecuted. Now during Christmas, the holiest seasons of the Christian calendar, we saw a crackdown on Christians. The Zion Church pastor Ezra Jin, whose daughter used to work with us just before Christmas, and after that, the Early Rain Church. We see Jimmy Lai, the prisoner of conscience, who just this past week in Hong Kong was on trial. And what all these people are, all these victims are, they are prisoners of conscience. They are speaking from the heart. You know, George Washington called conscience that celestial spark, that heavenly spark. And it is that which gives witness to the truth. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I appreciate Daryl for your long time principle standing with the oppressed. As Pierre mentioned, you know, the CCP, before the export its own repressive technology and tactics to overseas, they have been enslaving the 1.3 billion Chinese and other ethnic minorities in China. We have seen the rapid deterioration on the CCP's war against the faith. Since December 15th, a church with 12 services in Wenzhou, called the Jerusalem of China, called Yayang Church, had been attacked by over 1,000 military police with the masked, and they're still there, basically to try to take down the cross and destroy the church. And so far, over 20 of the church leaders had been arrested or even put on the most wanted list as the underground mafia. And my good friend, the human rights lawyer, Gao Zhisheng, this year marked the 8th year under enforced disappearance. 8th year of enforced disappearance. Dead or alive, nobody knows. And I want to invite Sophia Lua to come out to speak, also in solidarity with the 19 indicted Kazakhs. Her husband who is also a Christian human rights lawyer, Ding Jiaxi, who was sentenced to 12 years for attending a lecture event, right, like this, with the fellow human rights lawyers. 12 years, along, of course, with other human rights lawyers. Sophia, please come up and speak.
Thank you. Thanks, Bob, for this introduction and give me this chance to speak. Yes, my name is Shengchun Sophie Luo. I came here to representing my organization, Alliance for Citizens' Rights, and many same like-minded heart, mainland Han Chinese, to show our solidarity for the 19 Kazakhstan human rights defenders. As a Chinese American fighting for my husband's rights and freedom for over 12 years, I well understand the feeling and the actions of these 19 individuals. I share their view and their feelings for this evil Chinese government. I don't feel hurt at all, but I feel fully understand their peaceful protest under the basic right of freedom of expression and freedom of speech, protected by the constitution of both China and Kazakhstan. I strongly against Chinese government to kidnap Chinese Han people, to build up hatred and misunderstanding between Chinese Han people and Uyghurs and Tibetans and other ethnic groups of people. They are the real terrorists and 分裂分子. In any case, we are here to join the call to the Kazakhstan authority to withdraw the charges to these 19 brave human rights defenders and to drop this case. Thank you.
Thank you, Sophie.
Thank you.
I also want to acknowledge the representatives from the U.S. Commission on International Religious Freedom, Ross Takola, and Molly Long. Thank you for coming to support the law. Now I want to invite my good friend Serkan Pass, who represents the victims of Communism Foundation, that they have documented more cases also on the victims of communism, of course, as your name, the organization's name, than any other, and have the museum over there. So if you have not visited, please go. Please. Welcome.
Thank you all. For those who don't know me, I'm Serkan Pass, and I serve as the Associate Director of China Studies at the Victims of Communism Memorial Foundation. And our mission is to educate all generations about the history, legacy, and ideology of communism by equipping and convening researchers, students, educators, policymakers, and dissidents through our unique museum, as Dr. Fu mentioned, and curricula, heroic witness testimonies, and groundbreaking research. Why do we do this? We do this to keep our world free from the true evils of communism. And within that mission, our China Studies program focuses specifically on documenting the ongoing atrocities committed by the Chinese Communist Party, particularly the systematic repression of Uyghurs, Kazakhs, and other Turkic peoples in the Uyghur homeland. And I want to thank Dr. Bob Fu and ChinaAid for organizing this event and for the vital work that they do exposing religious persecution in China. I also want to acknowledge our co-hosts and fellow speakers, and I will say that this kind of coalition is exactly what the CCP fears most. The case that we're discussing today, the human rights defenders facing prison after diplomatic pressure, is not an isolated incident. It is part of a deliberate and systematic strategy that we see at play. At VOC, Victims of Communism, we have just completed research examining how CCP targets those who document its abuses. And let me share what we found in this very recent research in plain terms. First of all, the CCP treats everyone, and I mean everyone, as a threat. Not a potential threat, but as a threat. Our research shows that Chinese authorities label any diaspora member who asks questions, even someone simply trying to locate a missing relative, as an overseas terrorist. As we unfortunately know all too well, guilt by association is standard practice. Secondly, the CCP has learned to be subtle. The PRC has shifted away from tactics that make headlines toward methods that fly under the radar. They pressure host governments through diplomatic channels, they manipulate legal systems, and they threaten family members back home. These tactics are harder to prosecute and easier to deny, but they're just as effective at silencing people, if not more. And today, our gathering, the CCP may have wished this case to fly under the radar as well, but thanks to this effort by Dr. Fu, we're here to change that. We're here to change that and share the truth, and we're here to call for justice for victims of communism, including those who are beyond borders of communist states. And third, Beijing increasingly exploits what people want most, their families. We are right now documenting a new trend where the CCP is allowing some diaspora members to visit the homeland, but only if they stay quiet and only if they agree to report on their communities or spread propaganda when they return. They are, in effect, weaponizing families and family unification. The message here is that silence can be rewarded, but speaking out will cost you everything. And the result? Witnesses are afraid to come forward. Researchers face threats. Communities are fractured by suspicion, and accountability is becoming harder. And today we are here to change that. What do? We continue. We continue what we do because Beijing's strategy depends on us giving up, on witnesses deciding it's not worth the risk, on organizations going quiet, on the international community losing interest. And we cannot let that happen. Continuing to tell the stories of the victims, even when it feels futile, is in and of itself an act of resistance. What else do? We stand together. In this room, you have Chinese human rights activists, Uyghur organizations, Kazakh human rights defenders, religious freedom advocates, and congressional representatives. The CCP works hard to divide diaspora communities and isolate its critics. And our response must be the opposite: solidarity and cooperation across civil society. We cannot stand idle against Beijing's attempts to criminalize human rights work, including beyond its borders. We must speak up through our advocacy, our stories, and our research. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Administrator.
I want to invite my friend Edgar Krainer, who represents the Uyghur Human Rights Project. As its name demonstrates, they are a focus group that has played an instrumental role in exposing the massive abuses on the victims of the communism in the concentration camps, to Uyghurs and Kazakhs and beyond. Edgar, please come on. Yeah, let's welcome.
Thank you. I would first like to thank Dr. Fu and everybody at ChinaAid for inviting UHRP to participate in today's event. So I work for UHRP, the Uyghur Human Rights Project, which is a research and advocacy-based nonprofit advocating for human rights and democracy for the Uyghur people. Now, I'm here today on behalf of Omar Kunat, UHRP's executive director, who unfortunately was not able to attend. Now, UHRP, of course, joins human rights defenders all across the world in calling upon the Kazakh government to drop charges against these brave protesters. The solidarity in this room today is truly remarkable. To have Kazakhs, Uyghurs, Christians, Falun Gong practitioners, and human rights defenders from all communities here today to support the human rights defenders united in Kazakhstan is exactly what the CCP fears most. Transnational repression is a tool to divide and isolate. Working together is the only effective way to resist this cruel tactic. Now, I certainly don't need to tell anybody in this room about the scale of China's transnational repression. So many of you are living it every day. But I would like to share one thing that my Uyghur colleagues shared with me when we were discussing the case of these 19 Kazakh human rights defenders. The Kazakhstan government caving to CCP pressure to prosecute these brave protesters is a painful reminder of the CCP's long history of transnational repression in Central Asia. For Uyghurs, it echoes painful memories of the aftermath of the Kolja massacre in 1997, when Uyghurs fleeing a brutal crackdown took refuge in Kazakhstan, only to be deported back to China and imprisoned. Today, we are again seeing China pressure other governments, including Kazakhstan, to facilitate the persecution of those who speak out. UHRP has documented in numerous reports the various ways that the Chinese government reaches internationally to target Uyghurs, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and other human rights defenders, through everything from forcible return and deportations, cruel proof-of-life videos of family members detained, and even just the daily harassment on WeChat or WhatsApp. Now, since we're here in Washington today, I'd like to highlight that the US has a real opportunity to be a global leader on transnational repression, both to protect diaspora communities here in the United States, and also to support nations like Kazakhstan that fear China's retaliation. One key example of this is the Transnational Repression Policy Act, which Representative Chris Smith, who here I was here to represent today, co-sponsored. Now, this bill currently before the US Congress would develop a whole of government strategy, including law enforcement training and outreach to targeted communities. While this certainly won't protect everybody from transnational repression, it would be a very important signal to the CCP and to nations all around the world that there are real steps that governments can take to protect the freedom of speech and the basic fundamental rights of diaspora members within their borders. So I urge all of us here today to continue to raise this bill and other transnational repression-related actions with our elected officials here in the United States and beyond to press them to make transnational repression a real priority and prevent things like the tragic, tragic imprisonment of these Kazakh activists from ever happening again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. To put a human face on the transnational repression and the CCP's concentration camp, I want to invite personally to come to share briefly what happened to you and guess we have the best translator. Right?
No.
Yeah. Please come to translate and welcome. Yeah. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, everyone.
I'm Ismail Diallo. I come to Montazamailoga. Personally,
My name is ChinaAid, and I am a witness of China's concentration camps. I was detained a total of 1 year.
Ben bu bagada yapkan hayatımda sözü sanma bütün medyalar var. Ben skandalistler deme sonucu. Bu yerde insan şensiz derece zulüm tatlı çıktı. Bu yerde Uygur, Kazak, Özbek, Kırgız, bu şartlarla milletler var. Fakat Xitay milleti yok. Bu yaptı. Çünkü adam şensiz zulüm deme üzerine aşağıya düzelttim. Ben şu zulümden destim. Hazırlıkçı. Ben Amerika'ya 5 yıl oldu. Ben Amerika'da oturatma. Lekin davallı atmen, tekçilen yaşlılık bandım, ballardım, hatta kanserimi buldum. Şu yerde doktorlarken keserledim. Bana hazırlıkçı Amerika'ya gittim davallı.
I am not going to talk about the torture, the sexual abuses, and all the oppressions I faced inside the concentration camps. I assume you all know from the media.
The nation was 6.7.
As you know, there were so many unbelievable, inhumane treatments still going on in China's concentration camps. Not just Uyghurs, there were Uzbeks, Kazakhs, Kyrgyz, and other Turkic minorities as well. However, I was lucky, I was able to escape, and with U.S. help, came to the U.S. Even though I'm physically look okay in front of you right now, I went through a lot during these 5 years. I had many surgeries, mental treatments, I even had cancer and being treated, and all this was caused because of my experience in concentration camps.
Ben Amerika'da hayat gelip çıkan günden başlap bütün dünyadan insan hakları için, benim vətənimdə qılıyatma xalqım üçün, üzərimdən bütün hayatımda bir yaşlayma şular üçün, boş haqiqət üçün sözləyimən də çıxıb. Bugün bir yaşayalım mı? Bu Qazaqstan tutub getken qeyrindaşlarım benim. Ulanın Begzat Maqsuddan degan, ben Qazaqstan'a qutulup birinci qutulup lagerdan çıktım. Qazaqstan'a çıkan vaqtimda. Ben Eğer kullanı keçirdim. Ben kelip çıkaydım ki lan toxtumay təklif düşdü. Xitay hökuməti mən toxtumay telefon qılapdı, qayıt etdi. Mən 3 aylıq vaqt vergan, lekin çıkaydım ki təklif başqa.
Today I want to talk about my experience in Kazakhstan because since I came out, escape, I promised myself that I'm going to share the truth, all the experiences I had with the world, and that's why I am here. I am dedicated. I will continue to share the truth and search for justice. Since I came to Kazakhstan, my first 2 months, including Begzat, these people helped me to find me some safety in Kazakhstan.
Kazakhstan'a kelip çıkaydığı şu tehdit seferde Kazakistan hükümeti sakçıları mahsus ben mecbur kayıtır yürütme deydi. Onun için Amerika konsulu arlaşıp benim qilishim uchun qog'ozni qo'limga bergan oladimi yana uyimga o't qo'yib berdi meni. Teshigim bog'lab, biz uni o'zi ketgan o'tmudi deb o'ylab, lekin teshikni qo'yib berganini qanday qilib teshikni maxsus bog'lab tashlab qo'yayotgan kechada odam tutib uydan tashlab chiqdi.
In my time in Kazakhstan, I was constantly harassed, threatened, received phone calls. It was not easy, not just by Chinese long hand, it's also the Kazakhstan government might have some hands to it, I don't know, but I was facing those threatening harassment and messages constantly. What is very important for me is once my house was set on fire in Kazakhstan. First we thought it's just negligence, it's just a fire, but our door was tied shut from outside. So they were trying to maybe kill me, so they were physically and attacking our house, and that is something that I cannot forget.
Ben şu günden başlap o uygun turuşma mümkünçülüğüm olmadı. O uygun ben tuvatta uyumlu tramvay birinci kıtım muşlar gidip maksadan diye muşlardan uyup bağlı verip ayağımları üçüncülük yardım kalmama ama hatta bunun içinde ma kıyırındışınız Tursunbek degan bir qiyinchimiz bor. Bu bilan o'xshash shu kampida yetib chiqqan ashada hatta ashaning o'zida biz bilan tang guvohlik berib vatandagi qilayotgan uyg'urlar qarindoshlarimiz qozoqlar hammasi uchun guvohlik berib to'xtamay guvohlik bergan bola mana shu hozir endi bugun mana bular Qozog'istonda men shunchalar qiyinchilikdan ashtaqman o'shalar shuncha vaqt yelimda bo'lgan keyin o'tgan meni Amerika hukumati maxsus huquqlar boshqa uyga nima qildi o'rlashtirdi shu kundan boshlab men bexatar bo'lib sog' salomat Amerikaga yetib kelib mana guvohlik berib turib bu qarindoshlarimiz shu yerda bo'lganligi uchun mana qismga uchrab bugun hatto o'zining qozoq hukumati qozoq hukumatining qo'lida turmusida yetyapti bu bola Xitoyning turmusida yetib chiqqan odam qozoq hukumatining qo'li bilan tutiladi chunki bu Xitoy hukumatining shunchalik darajada butun dunyoga shunday qo'l yetganligining isboti endi shunday diktator bo'lib ketyapti hozir men shuning uchun bu naqdga chiqmay bu qarindoshlarimiz uchun men guvohlik berish uchun bu yerga keldim.
After the fire, I was very scared, and these people that Tursun helped me. I went to his house. His wife was very hospitable. They welcomed me and they helped me a lot. And I also met the Tursun Bey there. He was also a cancer survivor, and this organization was helping. And all these people are there to help people like me. And that's why I'm here, because now they're in trouble. Afterwards, U.S. government took some steps and find me a safe place, but until that, those are the people who really helped me. So I want to send my thanks here, and also that's why I'm here to speak on behalf of them.
Xitoy hukumati hozir butun dunyoni yana aldashga kirishyapti. Aldab butun dunyoni, masalan, Uyg'urlarni hech qachon hech qanday bir Uyg'ur qutulib kampidan chiqib bunda bo'g'ini yo'q. Chiqqan Uyg'urlar o'lyapti u yerki, qutulmagan ashadan chiqib turmada texnik yetyapti. Xalqimizning qanchalik vatanda qirilayotgani hozir butun dunyo bilib turdi. Xitoy chunki dunyoga men qo'yib etdim, ishimni ichib etdim. Ba'zi bir insonlarga, masalan, Xitoyning insonning ichida boshqa insonlar bo'ldi. Viza beryapti, berib Xitoy shunday yaxshi bo'lib ketdi. Lekin buning hammasi yolg'on. Xitoy hukumati hech qachon unday qilgani yo'q. Hatto ana butun boshqa davlatlarga berib, boshqa davlatlarga rejim ishlatib, mana qanchalar qarindoshlarimiz turmada yetib chiqa. Faqat Xitoy hukumati sababchi bo'ldi. Bu qozoq hukumatini shunday rejim qilyapti Xitoy hukumati. Çünkü
we have enough evidence, proofs, and reports by now that that genocide is still ongoing. Unfortunately, Chinese government is enjoying impunity but continuing to oppress those people like us. Recently, Chinese government is giving visa to selected few people and asking them to visit China and trying to tell the world that there is no longer a genocide, everything is normal. But unfortunately, none of the intellectuals, none of the persecuted people are released. Uyghurs are still suffering in China, so I want to make sure this message is consistently delivered. And I want to thank everyone.
Amerika hukumati shunchalik kuchli, men shunga ishlamanki, yana butun dunyodagi asta diktator bo'layotgan davlatlarga cho'qim bizni ishlatanlaydi, ashladiki bu diktatorni to'xtatalaydi deb ishlaman, chunki bu diktatorlik hozir butun dunyoga og'iz ichayapti Xitoylar. Shunga hammalarni bu diktatorlik yordam berishini qilaman.
I want to thank everyone again, the U.S. government, the America, United States are still leading, and I believe they will continue to support people like us and stop these kind of dictatorships. And I wish that we continue until we are all free. Let's fight together. Thank you.
Let's be, stand here. I think today's a day of solidarity. I want to invite all the speakers and those of you who are here. If you're okay, you are welcome to join for a picture together with.
Thank you. Can sir, as you go there, I will take a picture.
Maybe, yeah, you can all, yeah, let's all the speakers and
I'll take
both of you. So these two ladies, they were not only eyewitness of the atrocities in the concentration camp, they themselves suffered the worst nightmare to any women, you can understand. And Huzira, when we rescued her, and the CBS News sent a crew to Midland, Texas, interviewed her, and we learned she was also the first eyewitness and also really the observer, forced observer of the Chinese Communist Party's government-organized paid prostitution against those women, the victims of the concentration camp. Inside the concentration camp, the Chinese government would install that. So please, yeah, all the speakers, yeah, please come to the front, and we even, yeah. So you may to maybe in the middle. Yeah. So in the middle, we show our solidarity.
Stand in the front. So.
And, those of you want, you're welcome to join us if you feel comfortable and to take a picture together. Yeah. This way, taller, stand behind the back. Oh, yeah. To stand with them.
I'll go.
Hannah, can you
Yes.
take a picture for us? So have Duan here also.
Okay, 1, 2, 3. Nobody.
From Taiwan, we need thumbs up for freedom. Let's 2, 3, 1. Freedom!
Freedom!
2, 3, 1. Freedom! Or how about a free China? 3, 2, 1. Free China! All right?
Okay, excellent.
Yeah. If you have any further questions, I mean, we reserve the room before 5 o'clock. So still have time.
It's a little.
And we finish the press conference. Thank you very much for coming. Appreciate you.
Finished?
Right on time.